Wolverine has seen some trauma, and trust me, I know. I've made some people traumatized as Red Sonja, and I've experienced some traumatic events of my own, so I'm a fairly good judge of these things. But when it comes to Marvel characters, Wolverine is probably one of the most tormented of them all. He's lost many and more, and even been forced to dispatch some of his greatest loves, friends, and even family himself. As a man who possesses both a mental and physical healing factor, writers have challenged the limits of just how much Logan can take and still get back up from. So far, the answer seems to be that there is almost nothing that Wolverine can't live through both physically and emotionally. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we'll be taking a look into Wolverine's past, more specifically some of the more painful parts of it, which to be fair is most of it. Most of it is pretty painful. As we count down the top 10 worst things that have happened to Wolverine. If you love Wolverine, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and let us know in the comments if you'd like to learn even more about Wolverine's tortured past. Alright, now, let's get counting. Number 10. Lost his nose. After Wolverine lost his adamantium from Magneto ripping it out of him, which was also a pretty terrible thing he suffered through, he also lost his nose along with it. It seemed that without the adamantium, Wolverine then reverted to an animalistic state, which has been on and off characterized as some part of his mutation, or alternatively, he gets it from his biological father. During the time he was without his adamantium as such, he also started to appear more animal-like, and as a result somehow lost his nose for some time in all the chaos of art that followed. Though thankfully Logan would eventually get his nose and his adamantium returned him once again. Number 9. Possessed by the Black Blade. The Black Blade was forged by a man named Muramasa himself, a legendary swordmaster who built the blade using a part of his soul. Known for being a madman, the fragment of his soul would live on and possess whosoever wielded it, making them also mad and in essence bloodthirsty. We saw this happen to Jessica Drew in the 1989 Wolverine series, and then saw Wolverine manage to save Jessica when he himself took the blade from her. He thought this would kill her, but instead the soul of Muramasa within the Black Blade merged with Wolverine's, seeing him as a kind of kindred spirit of sorts. Wolverine then found himself possessed, and during this time almost killed Jessica Drew and the Silver Samurai as a result. Fortunately, he managed to assert his own will and reject the Black Blade's influence in the end, but being possessed is of course never fun, although I don't think he would have been too beat up if he had ended up killing the Silver Samurai while possessed. Number 8. His wolf family getting murdered. Wolverine has more origins than I have fingers. One such origin tale for him allows us to see him living with wolves, retreating to the wilderness after suffering a great trauma. The pack he lives with has become his family, and he takes great pride in taking care of his family and their newest cubs. However, Wolverine's curiosity one day gets the better of him when he and his pack run into the White Bear, a mysterious and uncommon sight for them. Wolverine senses the bear is out of place and tries to help it by leaving it gifts of food. Unfortunately, he seems to be unable to help it, until the bear one day manages to follow the scent of Wolverine's pack, tracking them down and slaughtering them. Wolverine returns home to find his family killed and devoured by the bear. With a mix of emotion, Logan himself strikes out and kills the bear, falling himself but recovering after a short while. Poor Wolverine can't even have a wolf family in the comics without some tragedy coming along and ruining it. Number 7. Forgot who he was. The amount of times that Wolverine has had his memories blocked, altered, and experienced amnesia is numerous. If you go back to some of his early years in the comic, he even seems to be somewhat lost in terms of really knowing who he is or why he is the way he is. In Claremont's Wolverine run from 1989, Wolverine even seems to have very little idea of what his early life was like. At this point, he even seems to believe that his claws are completely made of adamantium, and that they were even implanted inside him and are not actually part of his mutant powers, but he doesn't seem to recall who implanted these claws or why. Later on, we learned that Weapon X was responsible for the adamantium that was fused and coating his skeleton, and that his claws underneath were actually made of bone. We'd also learned that these bone claws were part of his mutation, and not created in some lab like he'd originally believed. Due to the amount of times his brain has been tampered with and his unique healing factor, Wolverine on a regular basis seems to forget various things about his past. His mind is constantly foggy when it comes to what he has done and even sometimes who he is. Number 6. Entire family was murdered in the Old Man Logan story. Logan actually manages to settle down and start a family with a woman named Maureen in the Apocalypse. Together they have 2 children, Jade and Scotty, likely named after Logan's old friend and sometimes rival, Cyclops aka Scott Summers. Unfortunately, when Logan is forced to go on a mission to earn rent sooner and in a higher sum than expected by the Hulk gang, he returns on time, in fact earlier than that, only to find that the Hulk gang got bored and murdered his entire family anyways. His 2 kids and Marine are all dead. Logan gets his revenge, of course. Tragically though, it does nothing to bring back that which he has lost. Number 5. Forced to kill Jean Grey. Multiple times too. Of course, Wolverine usually only kills Jeannie to spare her pain, but he also has a tendency to stab her and others that he cares for right through the gut. So not sure how much pain he's really sparing her there. In fact, I feel like, as someone who wields a sword, if you really want to hurt them, you usually stab them to the gut. Just saying. Wolverine has been asked to kill Jean multiple times. One time he was asked to kill her an innumerable amount of times all in one go, when she believed her deaths would weaken the Phoenix Force, and so asked Logan to kill her on repeat for goodness knows how long. Of course, as we've seen in the newest Wolverine series, when once again Logan kills Jean, this time not on purpose, it hurts Wolverine to have to do this. He doesn't like to hurt the ones he loves, yet he often feels as though this is a cycle that will never end, which is also why he tends to keep to himself more often than not, because he doesn't want to risk hurting those who get close to him. Aww. Number 4. Sent to Hell. The Red Right Hand and Mystique were the ones responsible for this plot. Mystique lured Wolverine into a ritualistic circle where his soul was then sent to hell. Wolverine's soul was not only tormented, but his body actually became the host for a demon, being known as Wolverine on Earth, an entity who sought to destroy everyone Logan had ever cared about. In Hell, Logan had to face the ghosts of his past. Mariko, who was herself in Hell, was even ordered and forced into torturing Logan. She ended up in Hell due to the fact that she was the head of the criminal Yoshida family. Yikes. Number 3. Forced to kill Dawson. While Dawson has definitely earned his father's ire, the truth is Wolverine has never wanted to kill his son. Not really. Despite the fact that Dawson has attempted to kill and has effectively tortured Wolverine for years in the comics, Wolverine struggled to accept the fact that he had to end Dawson's life when the time came. Later on, it was revealed that although it had been Wolverine's choice to kill Dawson, drowning him in a puddle, which actually ended up being a much more emotional moment in the comics than it sounds, it had actually all been part of Sabretooth's plot to torment his nemesis, Wolverine. Sabretooth had manipulated Dawson knowing that Wolverine would be forced to kill him. Number 2. Murdering his kids. If you think killing Dawson was bad, keep in mind that it wasn't as bad as this next point. Wolverine was manipulated into facing and killing his own children by his own son Dawson himself. Dawson had been working with the Red Right Hand, an organization focused on destroying Wolverine's life due to their common hatred of the hero. Dawson, working in collaboration, brought a team known as the Mongrels together, which was comprised of Wolverine's as yet unknown children. They would remain unknown too, as Wolverine was forced to kill them when the Mongrels attacked him and refused to stand down. It was only after they were all dead that it was revealed to him that the team was entirely made up of his own flesh and blood. His own kids! Shocked and traumatized at this discovery, Logan knew he could never make amends, but took it upon himself to at least give them a decent burial. Number 1. Manipulated into murdering all of the X-Men. In the alternate future belonging to the Old Man Logan universe of Earth 807128, Wolverine has seen and experienced some of the worst things ever. This alternate version of Logan no longer goes by the name Wolverine in that future. That's because he was the one responsible for murdering the entire X-Men team, and all the students residing at the X-Mansion. But it wasn't his fault. Wolverine at the time was manipulated into doing so by Mysterio, who created an illusion that made Wolverine see everyone in the mansion as a villain and an intruder. The illusion faded away only after Logan had killed everyone, with it being revealed that his last opponent, whom he thought was Bullseye, had really been one of his closest allies, Mutant Jubilee. Sad. Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. Who are some of your favorite mutants? Is Wolverine your favorite lycanthropic one? What do you think are some of the worst things Logan has lived through? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, but today you can call me the Red She-Devil. As always, you stay nerdy, YouTube. This needs to go somewhere that's not visible. Let's see if I took that. There we go. Great. Is falling out? Don't you stay in there, you little strings. No one can know the secrets of the strings. Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah.
Where? Oh,
Yeah, when you put your arm like that, that's what it's
sneaky. Let me see. Get up there. What are you doing? Oh, it's this one. Just trying to tuck it under my pauldrons. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Boom. Okay.